Hey, welcome again, everybody. I've got a good friend of mine, Jacob Robinson, here with me today. Jacob, welcome, and thanks for joining me here today. And just sharing with me a little bit about your journey, sharing with the folks watching a little bit about your personal growth, your development in entrepreneurialism, and being a business owner, multiple business owners. So just tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, I'm a CPA by trade. I went to graduate school at Ohio State. About 25 years old, I started working at Ernst & Young from that point on as a consulting group for taxes. And I saw a lot of different corporate tax returns and large corporate things while I was there, but I spent enough time there to become a CPA and I left. And I think that was probably 7 years ago now. And the first thing I did, I jumped out and I started, I helped a woman start a PT clinic, and she was trying to buy PT practices like all over the country. And I had helped a friend previously start a business in Boca Raton doing PT. And it was something that was just, it was the first thing, because the whole way I was at, I call it doing my time. When I was
Sure.
at Ernst & Young, the whole time I was thinking, okay, what am I going to do on my own here as soon as I can put CPA after my name?
Right.
So that was the first thing I did, which led into me meeting a woman and helping her do the Hope Learning Center, which is still alive and well in Wexford and growing massively. And then from that point, I've helped start maybe 12 to 15 businesses over the time period, but they've all been with friends.
Mm-hmm.
A friend comes to me and wants to start a CrossFit gym in Columbus, Ohio, and I helped him do that. And then he started his second CrossFit gym and the PT clinic and my wife's home care company. And I started the real estate brokerages 3 years ago. I started the commercial real estate brokerage probably more like 5 years ago, and the residential one maybe 3 years ago.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it's been a long journey for me. I because I'm a CPA, I can be in any market, any business, and that's why I encourage my fellow accountants and people to get into the field, is because if any industry is failing, every industry needs us. So
right.
you don't have to be in an industry that's failing. You just go to one that isn't.
Right. Right. Yeah. How has being a CPA helped you in starting businesses?
Well, I always tell people I don't think I've done a single thing that I need the CPA after my name. I don't think I've done anything since I got out. When I was in accounting school, I was more into cost accounting, which was not, it was the other side of accounting in practice. And that's more like, how do you price a product? How do you figure out the variable inputted costs and fixed costs associated with that price so that you're not overcharging or undercharging?
Right.
And so when I started doing cost accounting, what I was realizing was interpreting into the real world all the businesses that I had seen from my mentors growing up, and they would it just translated better for me. Like doing tax returns is just not a fulfilling thing.
Totally get it. Yeah, totally get it. I would have no desire to do that whatsoever.
To answer your question, I don't think the CPA thing. I think grad school was another level for me, because in getting your MBA, the entire program is based around starting businesses. The idea is to leave there and not take a job, but create a job.
Create one, yeah.
So, everybody there, I ended up working at Ernst & Young. I had friends that also worked at Ernst & Young in almost 7 different states, I think, in different cities, because we all just splintered out from grad school. And a lot of them got started the same way I did into the entrepreneurism, like as soon as they could.
Sure. Yeah. What attracted you to that kind of a lifestyle? I know a little bit. We've talked, before, obviously, and so I know a little bit about your story. But you mentioned that you had mentors, and you've had mentors, and so I'm curious if they had an impact on you, being an entrepreneur, or what was that kind of journey or that attraction like?
Yeah, I had fortunately, as a young child, some mentors who were very big business owners and very big venture capitalists. And
Mm,
also had the luxury of growing up. My father ran a grocery store, a Giant Eagle in Ohio.
okay.
And so, he's in charge of 100 people and running an entire store. So I always saw him and how he would managerially do things. So I understood the plight of the owner of the store and the manager of the store, and I understood the plight of the minimum wage employee because I was one.
Right.
And then I call him my rich dad. He one of my best friends growing up's father. He owned textile companies and recycling companies. He owned real estate and turned into hundreds of millions of dollars worth of stuff. So he would take me through the factories. I mean, as small as I can remember, 6, 7 years old, he was walking us through he bought a water plant and bottling, and he'd walk us through and tell us about everything. And at a very early age, I knew I wanted to be really rich, and I knew I wanted to have the access he had, and I knew I wanted to build things.
Mm-hmm.
I think I always wanted to do it, and I've always kind of been, I'm going to keep doing it no matter what. I tell Brittany, like, at this point, I've worked for minimum wage before, I'd go back and get a regular job.
Yeah, yeah. I can't see you doing that.
That's why I think I have so many projects going on, because early on, when you jump out into the entrepreneurial world, your mind goes nuts about, well, the next paycheck, the next year. Oh, I made 50 grand this year, but that doesn't mean I make 50 grand. It means I made last year. I mean, I could make 20 grand this month and make nothing next month. So you start early on. I just started to do as many things as I could in as many places and get involved in as many things, so that I was kind of like fanning out my risk.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Now I'm gearing backward because I've got all these different avenues and markets and industries that I'm in, and I'm realizing which ones, time for money, like which ones take me the least amount of time for the most money, and the ones that fill me up the most.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to hone in on what I do and do more of those things that fill me up and don't take as much of my time to make the amount of money that I want.
Yeah.
Which the real estate is why I'm really trying to focus on these days.
Yeah. No, that's really interesting. You said something a moment ago about wanting to be rich, and it's kind of cool that you had a real life rich dad poor dad kind of a thing scenario in your life. And what was it about that that you saw in that rich dad that really attracted you? What was it that he had that you wanted?
I mean, besides the access, I don't care about things much. I buy 10 pieces of clothing a year. Everything I have, my wife buys me essentially.
Yeah.
The material things aren't what really excites me, but access is what I want. I don't want to wait till I'm retired and 60 years old to take that Italy trip. I want to go to Italy every other year. If I want to go to Italy, I want to go see the ends of this world. So the access is what I love. He lives on the beach in Boca Raton, and he walks out the back and onto the beach.
Mm-hmm.
I want that. You know what I mean? And so like those things are all in there. They're all on the goal, the board. They're all things that I'm going after because I got a taste of them. And I think that, I've ridden with him in private jets places. So, and a lot of people don't get a taste of these things. They don't get any of it, I think. And so it's real easy to fall in the trap of just hating the things they can't have or get or aspire to have. You know what I mean? Right. Instead of thinking, well, being rich or wanting to be rich is a bad thing or something like that. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I always tell Brittany, like, down in Boca Raton, you go down and you go to 5 neighbors to the right, 5 neighbors to the left. I'll bet 8 out of 10 of them are miserable, the most miserable people you've ever seen. And they live on the beach.
Yeah.
So I learned early on, money isn't what makes you happy. You have this huge mansion with 20 bedrooms and you're all alone. That's sadder than if you had a little tiny house and you were all alone.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Yeah, and it's funny because it's interesting that you mentioned that, because I believe, you and I have talked about, Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich, and my definition of rich is different, I think, than a lot of people's, because my definition of rich, like yours, is like, I don't want to be that miserable wealthy man on the beach that is all alone. I want to be able to have an impact, and richness to me is being fulfilled and knowing that I'm making an impact in the world and having options. Let's face it, wealth and finances create options, and, like, as you said, access. So I just think that's an important distinction. So I love that you made that. I love that you made that.
People constantly, well, ever more in this world. There's literal socialists roaming around now. So like, there's more and more confusion on why somebody wants to be wealthy. It's not. I just want to be. I want to take care of my family. I see. As my parents age, and I see the cost of what that care can. I don't want them going to nursing homes. So there's a lot of reasons why the wealth is an amazing good thing. Like, yeah, I think there's just too many people that I always tell money doesn't change you. It just exemplifies who you are. If you give, $1 out of 100, you're not going to give 1,000,000 out of 100 million.
Right, right.
And if you're a crappy person, just exemplify how crappy you are.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
If you're a giving person, and this is why I tell her, like, you should be rich. You should lead a big group of people because you'll make them rich.
Right.
And I try to make all my agents, I flip houses with them and buy rental property with them. So when we're sitting in a room, I tell every one of them, I want to look around. I don't want to say these are my agents. I want to say these are my partners.
Yeah.
And that creates a different atmosphere.
Absolutely.
Holy crap! I can conquer the same way he's conquering.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing it together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. So let me ask you this, take it a little bit of a different direction on our conversation. So we talked a little bit about your rich dad, who's very influential for you, and taking you down kind of a path of growth and seeing what could be accessed by financial success. Who else in your life has been very influential in like mentoring you? Are there some other people, or how have you just invested in yourself and grown? You cut out there on me. I couldn't hear you.
Do you mean in business and entrepreneurialism, or do you mean personally?
Actually, both. I'd love to hear both.
Well, they kind of both tie together. So from the earliest age, I would go, to my dad's grocery store constantly. So I saw how he dealt with people all the time.
Mm-hmm.
He has the kindest approach. He never gets mad. And he has the kindest approach with everybody, and everybody in that town knows. So he should be the mayor. Everybody knows him, and everybody loves him. And so, I learned how to treat, the owner of the store the same way as the janitor of the store.
Yeah.
Because it was very important. My dad made that very important to me, that you treat these two people the same. And actually, my rich dad, that same thing. He made that very important. He would take bums off the street while we were skiing somewhere and let them stay in the condo for the night. You know what I mean? Like, he's never met a stranger. And when he walks into a room, he lifts everybody else in that room up. Everywhere I would go, if he was there, the first thing he would say when I walk in is, "Hey, you ever seen what Jake's doing? Jake's becoming a CPA. He's doing this. He's going to be the best at this." And that was every person ever. So like, everybody just loved him and his presence for that reason. So again, it just taught me how to treat people out there, which was a big part of my personal development. But honestly, from a business standpoint, I took me 10 years to become a CPA and get going, right? So the first 5-6 years was all textbook education and accounting and all that. But all my life, my rich dad was giving me Tony Robbins books and Robert Kiyosaki books, and he was always making it more, letting me know it was more important to read these books. They're just as important as those textbooks.
Yeah.
And very, very, I mean, on me about being a CPA and doing, getting the schooling. But, 6 years into the schooling, when I switched gears, and my majority of my reading was Tony Robbins, and it was, those types of people, my business career and everything skyrocketed, because it's like Think and Grow Rich. If you make that your Bible, that's not a book, it's a psychology book.
Right.
It's a book about behavior. It's just like How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's a book about psychology, and it works. And you can become a practical psychologist from those books.
Absolutely.
But, reading those books made me realize that I needed to work on myself the most. Now I had a skill and knowledge. I had the CPA after my name. Now I just have to grow personally, and the business grows with it.
Right. Yeah. So, what would you say to an aspiring leader who, maybe is just starting out on their journey? Maybe they've just become aware of, what it means to have like a personal growth plan, or to look at ways of growth. Where would you have them start?
I have, I carry around in my book bag like 3 or 4 different little small leaf books. I think one of them is Tony Robbins, and one of them is, actually I have it right here.
Oh, nice.
As a Man Thinketh.
Oh man, that's on my stand right over there. I love it.
This is a very small book.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
This is one of the most profound books I've ever read.
Yeah.
And so I carry that book around with me, because if somebody were to ask me that, I have a ton of copies of this book. And I just say, here, this is, read this, start here. I also have a book called Notes from a Friend.
I love it. Yeah. Yep.
And it's just another bunch of profound stories about things. And then I have this book called The Science of Getting Rich.
Wallace D. Wattles. Yes.
It's just another small one, but it's like a Think and Grow Rich book. And the reason I carry those ones around is because I don't pull out this big threatening book and say, start here.
Right.
These are 50-page books.
Right. It's
on one sitting.
But they're so profound. I mean, it's
profound. Exactly.
I mean, like As a Man Thinketh. I mean, I've read that several times, but I just recently went through a process of reviewing it again with a mentor who really pulled out some things that I hadn't seen before. And when you really do that, I mean, I'm going through Think and Grow Rich. I've been creating new lessons for Think and Grow Rich. And I mean, literally I have the book, sitting here. Think and Grow Rich is sitting here. And I've been kind of meditating on the persistence chapter, the things that in those books that is amazing when you go back through them and really take a look at it, and new things, you get to a place of new awareness, and you understand certain things. And I've been going through the last chapter of As a Man Thinketh, Serenity, and really like every day reading that through. And actually my mentor had me write it out. It's a short chapter, but write it out 5 days in a row. And so I did that. And, there are things in that process of just going over it and over it and over it again that really solidify in your subconscious mind those principles that become habits. And I think that that's the most important thing in developing yourself, is creating those habits of success. I guess I'm assuming you would agree, but it's definitely what my approach.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that that one of the things I would tell somebody if they ask me that question is to read that chapter on persistence.
Yeah.
Start there, because honestly, into the younger generation, the millennial generation, they need to understand persistence. And then, there's a lot of things that Brittany and I as business owners don't take from the older generations as far as managing and, being in the office all the time, and because we utilize technology. But there's also something to be said about the put your head down and do what you got to do nature of them that the millennials don't have. And so you need to learn well, first get on a path or on your own road, because if you're on your own path, it's the path you should be on. You won't 24 hours you'll work 24 hours away like that. You won't even care. That's number one. Number two is if you spend 3 hours doing what you do for a living each day and you're miserable after 3 hours of it, man, you should just start looking for something else to do.
Right.
And I think that getting out on your own, it just opens up so many avenues that, that's why, and I don't try to get everybody to be an entrepreneur. That's just not realistic, right?
Yeah.
Who would I hire if everybody was an
Yeah, right. Exactly.
but I think what the idea is to get them to think that, because you can still get them to think that way. You know what I mean? And you can still get them to invest in the goal, and you just have to incentivize them to.
Yeah. Right. Right. What are some things that that you do like outside of work and like what are some outside interests? I'd love to hear, some of what you're interested in.
I mean, honestly, fitness type things is typically what I've been into in any spare time that I have had. The last 3 years, I never thought I could fill up every hour of every day. But I've somehow managed to do it. I mean, we're at a networking event somewhere, either this state or another state, every night of the week. The weekends we're usually, now with the brewery, I have tons of investors and people who want to meet me there and have dinner.
Right.
So I'm still going through scheduling all that out, and and so. But honestly, like I just said, if you're on your path, like me going down to that brewery and working and having a few beers, I don't feel like I'm working.
Right.
I feel super privileged to be involved in such something so big and unbelievable, and that I can actually play a role that's helpful. And you know what I mean? I just feel super privileged when I'm there. I don't feel like, oh man, I gotta go work.
Yeah, right, right. What an amazing, and honestly, what an amazing attitude, number one, but number two, what an amazing thing too, to be able to feel like that, to be able to feel like, well, I love this. I love what I do. And I love being able to have an impact and as in your words, privileged to be able to be a part. I think that's amazing. So you mentioned the brewery. So I got to just tell everybody. So, Jacob and I both live in Pittsburgh, and his brewery is in Pittsburgh in the Strip District. It's called Cinderland's Brewery. So if you haven't been there yet, you got to check it out. You just got to check it out. So that's my shameless plug for you for your brewery. and we are going to be getting down there really soon to be able to have a dinner together and actually hopefully to have a meeting with my son as well. So
yeah,
looking forward to that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What do you have any habits that like you really feel like are your success habits? Like a morning routine, just any kind of a success habit that you feel like really like grounds you and puts you on the path of success?
Yeah, in the last year, I've been trying to meditate more and learn how to meditate.
Yeah.
And I need to spend more time finding a good teacher and getting better at that, because I've realized how much, if you make that a habit, it's just like exercising your body. If you make that a daily habit, look what your body looks like. So if you make meditating a daily habit, your mind will be in shape.
Love it.
I'm really trying to do that along with the physical fitness stuff. Like, yeah, it has to be something that gets done. You know what I mean? And so it has to be a habit. And then, there's a million things I do every day that take 30 seconds.
Yeah.
If I don't do the 3.5 hours worth of 30-second things, tomorrow there's 6-7 hours of it, and the next day, and the next day. And by the end of the month, it's out of control. So I try to make people, or force them in a daily habit. When you wake up, check your email, check your things, balance your bank accounts. These things take minutes a day. If you do it every day, it's not a problem. And after a while, it just becomes a habit. You wake up, you check your emails, you make sure there's not unopened emails. I see people, I look at, and they're checking their email, and I'll see that there's 3,578 unopened emails. I'm like, how do you know if you missed an email or not. I have zero. If there's nothing for me to do, there's zero in my inbox. If
Yeah.
there's 10 sitting in my inbox, that's 10 things I know I need to get done and do.
Right.
That type of just daily organization, especially for somebody trying to be an entrepreneur, when things start to get, because they're coming at you a million different directions, as you know, like if you don't make that daily maintenance a habit every day, you're just going to get really far behind real quick, and then everything just seems like it's chaotic.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's great. And I think I wholeheartedly agree. You got to have some kind of a routine that just kind of, and one thing that you said that you do, and I don't know if others will have picked this up, but you get it. So if there's something there, you do it now. And if it takes 30 seconds, just do it, because otherwise it compounds. And so, John Maxwell, one of my mentors, talks about the power of doing it now. And he's got a little talk that he puts into some talks about doing it now, and just telling yourself, just do it now. Just do it now. And all of a sudden you're just doing it now. You're just doing it now.
Yeah. I spend an hour or two a day, maybe on vacation in the morning doing emails, mostly before she even gets out of bed.
Sure.
But when people are like, you're working on vacation. Yeah, I am working on vacation, but I can also choose to go on vacation whenever I want.
Right.
And how much I want.
Right.
I just have to do my daily maintenance and
right.
in with my people. And, and after an hour or so, then I'm off to the beach. Like, that's the life I've now chosen to live. There really is no vacation from it completely. There shouldn't be. You shouldn't want there to be.
Right.
I check in on the houses I'm trying to flip, or new agent that I'm trying to sign up. Like, that's all I think about. So, you know what I mean? And I honestly am trying to do more of planning my downtime and turning it off and having none of it for the day or for the weekend, because I think it is important. And my wife is, ever more making me realize that, and that I need to get away. I need to turn off. I need to decompress.
Yeah.
The more you go and the harder you try to do things, and the more things are coming from different angles, the burnout just gets really fast.
Yep.
And the older generation ignores burnout,
right,
puts it down and just does it. And that's why they're so miserable with their jobs.
Right.
The younger people are realizing this balance more, right?
Yep.
So I said earlier, they need to think about that. Put your head down. There's something good there. Put your head down, but you need the balance. Like,
yeah.
I go down to Florida and we stay in a nice hotel and we do something, even if for 2 days, it reminds you why you're working so hard.
Right.
Right. And so I'm back energized to do it even more, because you want to get back down there and be able to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. No, that's awesome. What, as you think about just kind of your overarching why and I call it impact, what impact are you hoping to have on the world, and what kind of impact are you really trying to make just with your efforts and all of your businesses?
Well, I think I want to have a big impact with the people that I touch, the people that I bring in as agents or as employees or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I want to find, Brittany and I are huge about figuring out who our employees are and what they do personally and who they are personally and how we can build them up personally, because we realize that if we can help build them up that way, the job life is a reflection of your personal life.
Yeah.
If you have a terrible personal life, you bring it into the work. It's easy to see.
Yeah.
So we try to use technology. We use a lot of technology. I have a virtual brokerage. She has a virtual home care company. They're tracking and monitoring people everywhere they are. So we try to allow our people some flexibility to go to their child's, school event during the middle of the day or in the morning, and then come back. And because the technology allows us, it's freeing us from day-to-day daily tasks and allowing us to just monitor and manage more. And if we allow our people that luxury, that's just as important, more important to a lot of people than the money. Mm-hmm. And, so I think that we want to make an impact and I always tell Brittany, why she needs to grow her business so big is because you should have 200 or 300 people under you, because they're going to be happy, better paid, better treated people that way. If you think about it,
Right. Right.
I always tell her, who do you honestly think can make a bigger difference, Mother Teresa or Bill Gates? I mean, Bill Gates could take an entire country and take them out of starvation with the money he has.
Right.
He spreads a lot of love and a lot of things that go far and spiritually go. But you can solve a lot of problems if you're a kind person like Brittany is, and a giving person. She should have a ton of money and a ton of people, because she's going to just compound that.
Right.
People and giving people, and so I think that's my goal. Is I want to just build things up. I want to live comfortably, and I want everyone I know around me to live comfortably, and not of a rat race.
I love that. So to me, what you just described is that you are a catalyst. I mean, you like to catalyze people to be able to grow and to really help them to do that. And I know about you is I know that you have processes, and you're able to do things for people in business to help them to find structures to be able to utilize those structures. So I love that. And by that, you are making an impact for sure. Because like you said, I mean, I think that by virtue of you helping all of your businesses and business owners that you partner with, you're able to then impact so many more people. I love that impact. That's awesome. So kind of getting to the end here of our time together, I want to be really respectful of your time. I ask every question, or I ask every guest a question at the end of my time with them, because I have a sign in my office. It's called it says "Play Like a Champion" today, and it's a sign that's hails from Notre Dame. I'm an Indiana Hoosier by born and raised, and so that sign reminds me that I need to play like a champion today. So I'm always asking my guests, what does that mean to you? What does playing like a champion mean to you?
I think the biggest thing to me is showing up, and showing up every single day.
Yeah.
The world I'm in now, there is no being sick. I can't be sick, and I have that frame of mind, I don't hardly ever get sick. Right. But like I can't be, and if I am sick, I still have to carry my day on and do what I have to do, and do things for people and be responsive and take care of stuff that day. So I think that if you have that, carry that same, if you're an employee right now working for somebody, but you have that same mentality, that's your key to moving up and on, is be that person that shows up every single day, no matter what. They're there before everybody, they're there after. And if your goal is to move up a ladder or to expand, it doesn't matter what role you're in. If you play that role, play like a champion every day, somebody's gonna notice, and somebody's gonna push you up. And that's just a thing I learned being an entrepreneur, that now I look back as a younger person, as an employee, and you just like, okay, that makes sense why I was successful there.
Right.
And because you just appreciate, you start to really appreciate those people. I got hundreds of employees over all these businesses, and the disappointment is so consistent from people that it's real easy to see now, like, man, you find a good person and they play like a champion every day. You hire them, you take care of them, give them more vacation, more money, whatever you got to do. You know what I mean?
Keep them happy and they rise to the surface, huh?
Yeah.
I love that. Well, Jacob, thank you so much for sharing some time with me today. Is there anything at the end of our conversation today that you just like to share? First, before we do that, make sure we let people know how to get in touch with you. So I know you've got several businesses. Real estate, I know, is one of them, and the Cinderlands Brewery is another. How can people get a hold of you if they want more information?
So our real estate companies are Venture Home Real Estate and Venture RE, and it's www.venturere.us and venturehomerealestate.com. And you guys can get a hold of me at either of those websites to ask me more information about anything, honestly, in business. But yeah, that's the easiest way.
Awesome. And if anybody wants a good meal and a good local beer, Cinderland's Brewery down on the Strip, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Awesome. Any final words that you just like to be able to share? Just to feel like this session's been complete.
Um, yeah. So recently, Brittany had started re-listening to Think and Grow Rich, and she came to me the next day after 2 chapters, just raving about all these epiphanies she'd have after going through it again. And I've had the same I listen to. I don't read it anymore. I listen to it
Sure.
over and over, and I keep getting new things that you didn't know yet. You read it, but it didn't apply to your life yet. And so now that it does apply and you can understand it and apply it to it, you're just like, oh man, that makes sense. So I would encourage people to not only make Think and Grow Rich your Bible and read it like that over and over. And as you get through your journey, you'll just keep applying more of it. But they need to sign up for a class like you do and actually commit, be persistent, commit to this weekly discussion and weekly, because it'll get you to actually read the book. It'll get you to commit to at least reading that chapter one time before the next phone call or the next thing.
Yep.
And I think that the more people we can get to read that book,
yeah,
you know what I mean, and to understand that it's Think and Grow Rich. It's not really a book about getting rich money wise. It's about getting rich with people and love and all these things in life, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh, I love that. I love that. Well, thank you. Thanks for that. Plug for sure, but most importantly, thanks for the plug for the principles within that book, because I really do believe that there is this element of richness with people and being able to experience that, and I think that's really what that book is all about, and it's really what has helped me to be able to just enjoy people and to be able to enjoy the things that I have, and so it's a great study for sure. And I'll link up in the show notes, or actually at the end of the video, how you can get involved if you want to. But Jacob, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your time today, and looking forward to having that time down at Cinderlands with you.
All right, brother. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, man.